Lord of the Rings as a set is phenomenal. There's a lot of FOMO and hype about this set, but that doesn't stop the underlying fact that this set is going to crash, and it's going to crash hard. Just like enjoying a great ride that's brand new, because it's exciting. You can't wait to try it out. And after you've done it a couple of times, you realize that you're done with it, you're bored, and it's time to move on to the next great thing. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And that's exactly what's happened with Lord of the Rings. The sales are just too high. They really are. It can't be sustained at the level that we're seeing it at. And the more I'm seeing the sales figures come on over the weekend, the more I realize it's going to hit hard and it's going to be bad. And it doesn't mean the set's not good. It doesn't mean the cards inside the set are not phenomenal. But when we have this many collector boxes being opened, this much product that's going to flood the markets in the next 20 to 60 days, and we haven't even opened all the draft and set stuff yet, yeah, there's a lot going on here that people have really got to kind of disseminate and take apart before you decide to slap down some hard-earned money. Let's look at this set as a whole. The individual cards inside are going to have some value and some playability. There's no denying that. I'm excited for numerous cards inside this set, and I can't wait to add them to various decks, as well as keeping some of Lord of the Rings separate for myself and playing it as its own separate entity, just like I do for Dungeons & Dragons. Great! You got the Commander decks. With a nice little set, food ones, good cards inside, and everyone's, But when you start looking at these things and breaking them apart and getting past the FOMO, past the excitement that's built up, and take a more critical look at these sets, a lot of these cards, other than the collector stuff, is probably going to get a reprint sooner rather than later. The Commander decks, they're being sold at a phenomenal rate. How many people out there are going to want to keep these decks and play with them? How many people are going to tear these apart and break the individual singles out and try to sell them? When you look at that, and it's going to happen, because it's happened in the past when they build decks like this, it floods the market, everything crashes. So if you're a person out there and you have some patience, just a little bit, and can look beyond the FOMO hype, you're going to do very well for yourself. You're going to reap the rewards of the Timmies who had no patience. And I'm not saying being a Timmy is a bad thing, because sometimes being the first in line to experience that ride was worth the wait. Cracking those collector boxes, even myself, I can't describe how exciting it was. It's amazing. Seeing those cards come to life, amazing. I can't underrate the experience enough, but not that price point. That price point is just so detrimental and devastating to look at when you open those boxes and you see you got less than half your value or less. That can be a brutal thing to experience. So this is another reason why things will crash, because as the hype wears down, and by the way, the hype will still go for a while, but as it inevitably wears down, just like a new fancy ride at your amusement park, the lines get a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less, because somewhere in the park they're building the next big ride. Now, Wizards of the Coast is hoping the next big ride is Commander Masters, and I'll cover that later. But this here we're talking about is Lord of the Rings and the reasons why it has to collapse. The prices can't sustain themselves because there won't be a large enough player base looking for every single individual card inside these sets. People are hunting for the rings. That's what this is all about right now. They're hunting for some individual cards. Sure, there's players who are after those. Absolutely. But people are hunting for the rings. Okay? It's everywhere, from every Reddit board, every Discord message, every email I'm getting. Amazing. The views on these box opening videos, crazy. But do you think the views for those box opening videos will be the same for draft and set? See, I got you there, didn't I? Because you know they won't be. The hype is already, in the next 12 days, going to start naturally burning itself out. Like a campfire with no fuel, it's going to slowly and inevitably wear itself out. Because you can't sustain that level of hype. There may be a surge or two when some other cool stuff hits the banks, right? Everyone's excited again, but it'll go down. And when you look at the individual cards in the set, the fact that no card will be any harder to get than any other card other than the serialized cards means there's lots of cards to go around. The values won't hold because there's so much opened. And when the values don't hold and the prices start backtracking, when they start trending down, when you've done enough MTG finance stuff like I have, you have seen a lot of stuff in your day. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're a big channel or a small channel. If you track this stuff long enough, you see patterns and how things move. And you see the sales figures to back it up. And yeah, it's going to go that route. There may be the odd individual card that'll hold well. Most people think Oakrish Bowmaster going to be up there forever. It's the flavor. It's amazing. People want to try it. Who knows the long-term effects? I don't know any more than anybody else how that card or other cards in this set will naturally play out over a longer period of time until we see what the player base brews and does damage with, and which cards become more popular. Yes, there'll be some hits, but there'll be a lot more misses. There'll be a few people collecting this as a whole set, but there'll be a lot of people who just have hordes of bulk, rares and mythics, by the end of this. And this is all before we even get to draft, set, gift bundle stuff. Crazy. All you have to do is look at Warhammer 40k. Had a phenomenal print run. People loved those commander decks. And now they're sitting on shelves. They're being discounted by your retailers. So for everyone here, if you thought you were going to invest in Lord of the Rings commander decks, you're wrong. I hate to say it that way, but you're just wrong. It's okay to be wrong. You shouldn't have done it. You should have been rational and thought it out. And it happens all the time to all kinds of players out there each and every day, including myself. I'm not above all this. It happens to everyone. But being rational and calm and deciding for yourself to buy something and enjoy it, and yes, you can possibly speculate on stuff. That's up to you. It's your money. But I can tell you now, from the figures in the past, a lot of this stuff doesn't hold up over a long period of time. There are exceptions, but they are not the rule. It's an exception, not the rule. There's the odd deck that does well, and if it does too well, they print it again and again. If these sell out, they're just going to print them again. If those sell out, they'll print them again until there's meat to demand, right? It's going to be there, available on store shelves, and eventually the store gets stuck with it and either has to crack it themselves or put it on discount to clear it out. Just like Warhammer 40k, just like every other commander deck. And over time, they will naturally rise in price, absolutely, until they get their next reprint, until the IP gets used up a bit more. I know it's kind of a mean way of thinking about things, but it's just the idea that I saw so many of these sales figures on the weekend, and I got my Monday figures in, and nothing adds up to a natural viewing thing. It's just, on your screen, you're going, look at the last, several sets, and the numbers are nowhere close. Even before 30th anniversary, these numbers don't add up. Okay, they just don't. And maybe I'm wrong. Again, maybe this whole video will make no sense a year from now. But I'm betting it's going to. Because I've seen this type of effect before with things like Double Masters 2022. Other premium sets that now sit on store shelves. That attract no more attention than something like, oh yeah, remember that set? That set was awesome. And that's where things start petering out. So again, break this down. You got commander decks that'll be broken apart and sold, and yes, some people want to play with them, but they're going to be restocked and reprinted as needed. So eventually, they're just going to sit on a store shelf, okay, for years to come. With collector boxes, that's the real standout from Lord of the Rings. It's the fact of how they did it with the box toppers, followed by serialized cards, and of course the search for the One Ring that has the market the way it is. It's the only real thing that's kind of segregated out from other sets we've seen and experienced in the past. So that has to be the key catalyst element of the success of this set. Although the cards are great, we have to look at those as individual cards with great artwork, but that's the event. Now that event is something Wizards of the Coast will try to replicate, and they will think because this is the way this company goes, and their greed will kind of get the best of them, I'm sure. Maybe not right away, but they inevitably always kill this stuff off. They may have a little success. They may have some trial and error, but with this set, they're going to try to reprint things. Not the actual collector boxes. That's not going to happen. As far as I know, we'll see what's at distribution level will slowly get meted out at a higher price point, and we'll see if the market holds. But all these set and draft boxes that haven't come out yet, Wizards will think, hey, we can reprint more of these. Players really want these, when really the players don't. The catalyst event of all the stuff we just talked about, that's what they're after. They want to be part of that moment. We all do. The actual set will have the cards in it, but it's not going to have the same value, the same excitement, the same hype. Yes, we got the box toppers in there. That's great. That's one piece of it, but it's not the other parts. You don't have the serialized cards in there, and you don't have the one ring. And that's something they need to work on for future sets to bring a lot more money into the fold over a longer period of time. But that's for another day. This is, it's another chapter, 24 months from now, not this moment. So this along with all those other reasons are why this set's going to just come down hard. When people turn their heads to the next big thing, and I'm not sure if it's going to be Commander Masters. I'm still very negative on that set right now. I can't picture anything in my head that says it's going to be great, but as we go past it and take a look at what the future holds, I think a lot of players are going to look back and be excited for what this set was, and then they're going to kind of wonder, why was I so excited? What attracted me to it? And then we'll see if Wizards of the Coast can bring this stuff back around, because this, among all the reasons, is why it's going to collapse. It's not normal for players to open this much product. And because they did it this way, it's going to be just a free-for-all on the singles market a number of months from now, because there's going to be so much of it available at so many different levels on so many different websites, and it'll be a race to the bottom of the barrel for people, stores, players, speculators to try to recuperate their money. So if you're one of those people, take a look at the cards you love most and try to recuperate some money now would be my best, option for you guys out there, because I don't think it's going to hold very well. And you know what? Time will tell. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. Thanks for being here. Looking forward to seeing those comments in the comment section. And I welcome everyone to comment, because this is where we get to talk about what's going on and get to see other players' opinions. Have a great day, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for another video. Just like a 1980s Saturday morning cartoon, you gotta watch the end and see all the people who helped make it possible. That's what patrons are. They're the ones who allow for this material and content to come out daily. Patrons, you rock. Boomstick! Welcome back to the end of the video, and thanks again for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. You know it's true. I'm so glad you made it. Hope you're having an awesome day in the world of Magic the Gathering. And since you made it here at the end, let's be honest. The sales are through the roof. We've already talked about that in the video. But is it going to come down hard? Oh, we talked about that in the video. And there's going to be sales and deals? Yep, we talked about that in the video. So what have I got left to say? Christmas 2023. And Boxing Day 2024. I got my eyes on it. Because if things come down as hard as I think they will, there is a chance they will not revamp the production, and they won't reprint if there's no need for it, and if the stores aren't buying it. So as bad as it could be, because it's a premium product, maybe they did short run it a bit. No, they didn't. That's just a joke. See, I just tried to fool you all. No. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be there a long time. Don't fall for it. Don't believe the hype. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Have an awesome day.